Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, June the 11th. This is going to be a video for upcoming fifth graders and continuing what we were talking about on Monday, working with division. So there are a couple other tasks I want to go over with you real quick. One of those will be working with two-digit numbers for our divisor. One will be a problem-solving kind of question, and then this idea of what we can do when we aren't quite sure what the math facts are supposed to be, how we can make guesses and then make corrections if we need to. So I'm going to do that with this first problem, number 7 here. I'm going to say I don't remember exactly what my math facts for 15s are, and that's okay. I can go ahead and make a guess. I'm going to guess 7 times. So if I end up getting an answer that is larger, then I need to use my eraser and go ahead and adjust my guess down by 1. If I end up with a number that's so small that I have more than 15 left over, then I need to guess a larger number. So for this, I would get 35. When I carry the 3, I'm going to get 105, which means I need to try again and pick a slightly smaller number. So I'm going to pick the next smaller number, which would be 6 times 15, and then work through my multiplication problem, which would give me 90, and then I can go ahead and subtract, bring down my 5, and that gives me 75. Well, I just figured out that 6 times 15 is going to give me 90, so if I guess the next smaller number, I would get 5 times 15, which would give me 75, and that gives me my final answer with a quotient of 65. I'm going to skip over this one. I am going to look at number 9. So don't let the fact that the numbers are large throw you off or scare you. We can use repeated addition strategies that we were using to learn multiplication facts for numbers that we don't already know. So I can go ahead and do 34 plus 34, figure out I'm going to get 68, and get my first digit for my quotient. And then once I go ahead and subtract and bring down my 3, I'm going to know that I cannot do 3 divided by 34 and get at least 1 for an answer. So I'm going to put a 0 here, bring down my 7, and that's going to give me 37. I can do 37 divided by 34. I can count 1 time by 34 before I get to 37. And so if I go ahead and do my subtraction, I'm going to get a remainder of 3. And to review what we were working with on Monday, that remainder of 3 could be represented as a fraction over our divisor. So we could have a fraction of 3/34. So this is one way you could write the answer. Another way that we could write that would be to write 201 and 3/34. The last thing I want to go over with you real quick is this idea of a problem-solving question that uses something that we've used before in a different way. So when we're working with division and we're representing something, in this case, one fish being 10 times bigger than another, what we are going to end up with is a division problem where we would divide by the total number of boxes to figure out what number goes in each box. So I have 1 for the weight of my first fish. They're going to call that a permit fish. The tarpon is going to be 10 times larger than that. So we represent that weight 10 times, and then the weight for the permit fish once. That means we would be doing 132 divided by our total number of boxes, which would be 11. We don't have to guess what number goes in each box. We can just do the division problem and then do the last step of figuring out how much each fish weighs. And so when I do that, I can do 22 divided by 11 is 2. That is going to give me an answer of 12. So my tarpon fish would have a 12 in this box, and then all 10 of these, permit fish for this one, tarpon, would be all 10 of the bottom ones, and we would write in the number 12 for each of those. I'm not going to take the time to do that because I can do 12 times 10 to get 120. And so the weight of my tarpon, I'm going to represent that as the letter T, would be equal to 120 pounds. The weight for my permit fish would be 12 pounds. And then the answer would be the name of the fish and the weight for both fish. So those are some things I wanted to go over with you to kind of finish up this idea of what we were working on. I'm not going to ask you to practice anything specific with what I just talked about. I want to make you aware of what we're going to be doing and why. So what I would suggest, if you want to keep practicing, continue working on those multiplication facts. And if you are comfortable enough with those that you can start working on division facts that go along with that, let's say 54 divided by 6 equals 9. Working on that kind of thing would be useful as well. Again, the larger numbers that we get to, we can use repeated addition strategies and guesswork and use multiplication and adjust our answers. You don't have to get everything perfect the very first time you guess a number. So we have lots of strategies to help us work with more complicated and larger numbers in our division problems. So don't worry about it. Try to get as good as you can with the easier stuff so that saves time later on. And then we can worry about some of the more difficult things as we get to them. So hope your summer is going well. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, again, Risen Christ students, please feel free to reach out to me. You can have your parents on Class Dojo. I still check that occasionally. Send an email, send a message in Google Classroom. Any of those would be perfectly fine. Hope your summer is going well. I miss you guys a lot. Hope you have a wonderful summer, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be on Monday.